Well, hello there. This is Main Street, and we're starting late. Or as Carol Channing might have said, we're not supposed to be here. We were supposed to have started 10 minutes ago. We're having technical problems, but we are having my darling Ruta Lee and my darling Judy Tenuta. They are in the technical green room backstage waiting to come on. We're going to bring on Judy first in just a moment, as soon as I say a couple of quick things. First of all, to our host, Gary Allen. Gary will be back with you in 2 weeks or next week. And then after that, I'll do one more show for him. And then you're going to have Gary back full time. So yay, Gary Allen, you're feeling better. Hip, hip, hooray. The other thing is we're going to be switching the order of our guests, and we're going to be doing Judy Tenuta first and then Ruta Lee. Now, to explain to you how all of this works, we are on a platform called StreamYard, and it works for most guests. And for some guests, oh gosh, it just doesn't work properly. And what happens is that wonderful Tom brings in my guests to an electronic green room. A green room is a place in a theater where the actors kind of hang out right before going on, a little comfortable place to rest. They had them in theaters, they had them on television. So Ruta and Judy were in the green room just a minute ago. I don't see them there anymore. So I don't know quite what happened, but hopefully Tom, our wonderful technical guy, is going to give me a note saying that everything is okay. They were here just a moment ago. We were having trouble with Ruta's feed. So she was not that Ruta was doing that. The platform was doing that. And Ruta is so beautiful and so wonderful. We wanted to make sure we brought her to you in the best possible quality. And if it seems like I am vamping until ready, as they say in music terms, it's because just before the show started, both Ruta and Judy were in that green room, and now I don't have Tom, I don't have Judy, I don't have Ruta. So I don't know what to do, except there is, so don't say a word yet, because you wanted a very special introduction. Yeah. For Judy Tenuta, the Love Goddess is a 2-time Grammy nominee, and she has stars on 2 Walks of Fame, one in Las Vegas, one here in Palm Springs, and I was so happy to be there when you got that wonderful honor. Here is the Love Goddess. Yay, Judy!
Yeah, Geoffrey, let's go. Let's go. Party, 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 party. Wow! This is, as you can see, everyone, and Geoffrey, I was struck blonde. As you can see in this older picture of me back here, I had reddish hair, but I kind of like the blonde. What do you think?
I think if your hair was purple, the Love Goddess would be gorgeous.
Oh, thank you. But blonde goes better with everything. So, including men, those pigs like blonde hair. You know.
Yeah, that. I had dates like that.
What? Okay, my bangs are effing up, but that's okay. We're gonna fix them. Oh, great! Look at that. Anyway, I'm very excited. As you know, well, there's a couple of things going on. Number one, and I don't like. I know. Don't I look healthy?
You look radiant, like vitamin C is just coming out of your aura.
Because oh, that's it. Because I'm kicking cancer's ass. I'm kicking cancer's ass. I'm licking it. I'm kicking it. I'm kicking cancer's ass.
Yeah.
You know that, Geoffrey.
I do.
It was very shocking to find this out, but I will say it happened during, 6 months ago or something. And so now everybody's kind of inside anyway. So it's not like I missed that much, and yay, I'm getting better and better. That's what I say. Yes.
I would not. No, I've known you for years. We've been friends a very long time. I have been worshiping the love goddess a very long time.
Oh, yes, I'm Judy, Geoffrey. Everybody should know this.
Yes.
I'm Judy, and I have my own religion, Judaism. In my religion, there is no wall, there is no ban. Whether you are woman, man, or trans, I will bake your wedding cake. Yes, and pop out of it too. Oh, thank you. Somebody just said they're praying for me. I appreciate and believe in all prayers. Thank you.
Thank you, bucket list experiences. I really appreciate that.
Yes.
So you made your sort of coming out of the closet out of cancer at an event at the Hollywood Museum a few weeks ago.
Oh God, it was so beautiful. I was so honored. Yeah. What happened was, the owner and founder, Danelle Dadigan, I asked me if I wanted to say something. And so, it was a very special night because it was like the pre-Halloween celebration and celebration of, is it the 30-year anniversary of
Silence of the Lambs.
That's correct. And we were in the dungeon. So
Miss Judy and I were in the dungeon together, folks.
Yeah, among like 50 other people. So it's not
well, if you're gonna ruin the story, but yes.
No, it's not like Hannibal Lecter was only having, I'm too thin for him to be satisfied with just me because I'm like a little hors d'oeuvre. But there were 50 people there, so he would have had plenty to eat. But anyway, it was a lovely event, and I just felt great, and of course pictures with everybody and
And were you able to hear the ovation you got when you first started talking and when you finished, the cheering that was going on for you?
Well, I did say yes, and I did explain. Yes, it's just, it just fills my heart and it lifts my spirits. And as you know, that's important for all of us every day, but especially if you're going through something like this. So, I much appreciated. And as I said in my speech, and Miss Ruta Lee knows this too. For me, the Hollywood Museum is a home away from home because we get to see everybody that we haven't seen in a while. And,
right.
And we celebrate all the different events there. Donnell has, oh yeah, cheers.
To the Hollywood Museum and Donnell Dadigan. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Oh, remember the Pointer Sisters one? Oh, that was so great. And everything is great. So, and she gives us food.
I know.
It's delicious too. Yeah, she always has treats for us. It's very sweet.
No, Donnell has become the hostess with the mostest on the ball.
Yes, very much so. And anyway, so I am working on, well, people always want to know what you're working on. I'm working on kind of a, okay, how do I say this? As you know, it's not just a TV show anymore. It's like streaming into outer space. I don't know if Jeff Bezos gets it. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's
yes.
Everything. So I'm working on that, and of course,
why don't you tell our friends what that is? What is that you're working on?
Well, it's going to be the love goddess. The love goddess and my encounters with mortal men and women. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Well, I can't wait to watch that.
Yeah. And also, let's see. Oh my goodness, is it time for a song?
Yes. Ding. It's time for a song.
There's always before I get into the song, I just remembered. Everyone, I want you to know that Geoffrey, when I was not feeling as well, as you can see, I feel much better now. But when I wasn't feeling so well, Geoffrey called me and said, Judy, I'm going to come over. And I said, oh, Geoffrey, I'm not good company because I'm very, kind of drowsy because, they give you those drugs. But what he did was he said, listen, listen, I have an Ella Fitzgerald CD and bio, and I want you to have it. And he sent it to me, and I just love her. You can listen to, I also have her doing duets with Louis Armstrong, and I just love it. I listen to it. I don't know about you, Geoffrey. I love to have music in my house at all times. I love it.
I do too. And it's a good moment for me to put in a commercial that
Okay.
you and I and anyone else can listen every week to Geoffrey Mark Plays Ella on Apple Tunes and all the usual platforms you find podcasts. And we just recorded our Christmas show yesterday.
Oh,
So
fun.
that'll be up soon. And we're about to record a special show saluting Harold Arlen with a very special guest for the first time. I'm having somebody in the studio with me, but we'll talk about that next time because I want to talk about you, lady. I want to hear a song from you. Absolutely. Do you have one for us?
This is one of the first songs I did on my Grammy-nominated album, Bitus Pigs. And this is, I dedicate this to all the men. Okay. I like boys who wear my clothes and live with their mothers and paint their toes. I like boys who wear my clothes, don't you? I like boys with ruby red lips, cauliflower ears, and childbearing hips. Yeah, I like boys with ruby red lips, don't you? Oh, yeah. Woohoo! Dance. As you can see, this accordion has been taking a nap for a while, so it's a little bit maybe out of tune. But that's okay because we're having a party.
We are indeed. I have a question. I've never asked you this. All the times we've had meals together and things. What was your inspiration comedically? I mean, you are an original. There's nobody else like Miss Judy. But who inspired you to become the love goddess?
Okay, well, it's a long evolution of great comedians, starting back to all of the silence, and I loved Mae West.
Good taste.
Mae West was a comedic genius. I loved but I loved her. I loved W.C. Fields. I loved Charlie Chaplin. You know, you learn a little bit from each one of these people. And then as we fast forward, I loved George Carlin, who I toured with. I opened for George the whole summer of 1989. And it was joy. It was a joy, a pleasure. And we laughed so hard because we were both raised Catholic. So we'd say things like, I'm going to get the Pope on you, bitch. You know, and no, we had a lot of fun and it was really great. And and my parents who are in heaven now, thank you, Mom and Dad, they were so excited that their daughter was opening for George Carlin, so they were very excited. And in Vegas too, I opened for him, and also I also headlined in Vegas at the at several places like the what do you call it? It's no longer there. The Sahara,
right?
Also, where do they have the improv? The improv where. Harrah's. And also I did a double bill with some comedians at the Paris. So, you know, we love Vegas too. We love Vegas. Yeah. I want to be a show girl. Give me feathers.
We have a comment from Mikey Souls 23. Yay, Judy. She sounds spectacular.
Oh, thank you. So sweet. All of these comments are so loving to me, and I so appreciate all of them because, as you know, Geoffrey, we depend on our fans and people that listen to us, and because my job and yours too is to heal people. It's Absolutely. To make people feel better because let's face it, we are all dealing with a bunch of crap now. You know, there's a bunch of things that we have to all deal with and sort it out. But, you know, it's so important to keep the joy in your life and be positive, right?
Absolutely. You know, I was going to ask you, so where did you find the strength to be dealing with an illness and stay funny at the same time?
Well, first of all, this is like, okay, when I first found out, the doctor showed me the x-ray and I go, no, that can't be me because I'm perfectly healthy. He said, you are healthy. Everything else about you is great, but you have cancer and we have to take care of it and you have to get chemo. But I did the chemo. Thank you, universe. Thank you, God. Thank you all who prayed for me. And because it all counts, you know that, Geoffrey.
Absolutely. Every prayer counts.
Every prayer counts, especially when it's a group. But regardless, if it's just one person, every night I say my prayers. I start the morning by thanking God for the beautiful day and that I'm still living.
Yay!
Yeah, and just deal with it because I know there's some people who are jealous of the goddess. Oh, they cannot possess me. No. Anyway, but how did I do this? Well, yes. Once you're told something like that, you have two choices. You could either lie back and go, oh, well, or like I did, I am the warrior goddess. You must be the warrior goddess. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you, cancer. Yeah. So, yeah, I just, at first I cried in the office and then I said, hell no, I am not taking this. I am kicking cancer's ass. And I'm healthy and I prayed every day that God and Jesus Christ are right with me and they are healing me inside. They are at all.
I believe it.
And the prayers from all of you help. And I love you all for doing that. Thank you so much. And yeah, you just, in life, but especially if you have something like this, you really have to believe that you're already healed and you're being healed. You have to believe it and you have to act accordingly. Like I was very safe about everything. As you know, what did we do, Geoffrey? We got our
vaccinations, you bet.
And I'm not talking about that we're Cocker Spaniels or something. No, we all got our COVID shots. They're very important. I know everybody who is conscientious and wants to live in this country.
Yeah.
Get your damn shots. Okay. And I applaud everyone who's doing it. Thank you.
One thing I find remarkable about you, and I respect in you so much, in this journey you're taking, which will soon be finished, not your life, just this little piece of journey. I've never for a second felt that you were playing the victim, felt victimized. No. You were just, all right, really? Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go, bitch. I'm kicking cancer's ass. I'm kicking And by the way, I want to give a special shout out to all survivors, everyone who is fighting this. I know there's a lot of you out there, and I am praying for you too. And we're all in this together. And I know we probably should have had a complete cure by now, but we're getting better and better. And I have to give a shout out to my fantastic doctors at UCLA. Thank you, Dr. Cohen.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Alcantar. Thank you, all the nurses and doctors who took care of me while I was in the hospital for 9 days. And guess what? It was a party in the hospital, giving all my blood away. Yeah. They took really good care of me. It was great. So,
when we were at the Hollywood Museum a few weeks ago together, and there were people around you, Ruta included, who will be coming on with us in about 5 minutes.
I love Miss Ruta.
Who were so concerned that, well, I do too. Who were so concerned. Are you tired? Do you need a chair? Do you need a rest? You were like, no, I'm fine. You were stronger than we were.
I was full of energy. Well, I was so excited. And as you know, I had on a pretty snazzy outfit.
Well, you always do.
Oh, well, thank you. But that one I was calling myself a zombie Lady Gaga even though I didn't have stitch marks on my face. I had that gold dress on and a nice over jacket. Ooh, watch out for the shoulders. And so yeah, it was. I always loved going there. Everyone, of course, we know we love Donnell, we love you, we love Harlan, Roger Neal, Stephen, who helps Donnell, everyone on Donnell's team. Everybody, if you get a chance, because the museum is open, please go. You're gonna just love it.
Absolutely. Gary Allen, whose show this is, because they get. If I don't read these things quickly, they put them up on the screen. So I was about to say, Gary is saying God bless, and he met you in Vegas years ago.
Oh, you know what? Thank you, Gary. I treasure everyone who came up to me after a Vegas show or even before or whatever, and just said that I brought joy to their lives. That's my goal. That's what I care about. So I would. Oh, one night, and you never know who's in the audience, as you know. One night, and because this was all the way back in 1999 or 2000. So who's the big cheese? Steve
Wynn?
Yes. How could I forget Wynn, the Wynn Hotel? He came with his whole family. And it was great. They were so sweet to me. They loved the show. They had it. So it was great. You never know who's going to be there. Oh, another time. I love, the magicians there are so nice. I got invited to, and see, this is what's terrible now. I have to ask Miss Ruta how she remembers everything. But who's the big, this is terrible that I can't remember. The big magician, the one who makes airplanes disappear. David Copperfield. David Copperfield invited me to his show. Oh, and he did not make me disappear. No, he just showed me everything in his beautiful, in his beautiful dressing room. He's a doll. He's a sweetheart. I love him. Also, even bigger than that, before that, my then manager he surprised me for my birthday and brought me to see, are you ready? Da, 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 da. The Tiger Guys. Yes.
The Tiger Guys.
Tiger. Yeah, is that terrible? Oh my God. Siegfried
and Roy, yes.
And guess who they introduced me when I was sitting in the audience, and I go, oh no, don't make me come up by the Tigers. They go, oh no, that's okay. We just wanted to say. And Siegfried did it. And then I took, wait, let me show you if I have the picture. Can you, yes, I have it right here if you don't believe me.
I believe you. I'm
getting it. It's
right. She's getting it. Hang on one second, boys and girls, while she gets a picture. There we go. Siegfried. Yeah, perfect.
Do you love it?
Yes.
And you can see at that time I was like a sort of a brunette, but we love the blonde.
We do. I think you should keep the blonde.
Yeah. Well,
hey, all of your friends and fans want to know something.
Yes, my dear.
We've told them how well you are. The road to wellness, you are hop, skipping, and jumping. When do you think you'll begin performing again? Because everybody wants to know when they can come. I want
to be on screen. I'm spoiled. I want to do TV, be on screen. Honey, I am not thrilled about going on airplanes and people are beating up the flight attendants. Geoffrey, it's disgusting. Every day you hear about a flight attendant getting beat up just for doing their job, just for saying, please take your seat, put on your mask. And no, you see how many planes have been. So stop it, you bitches. Stop.
Yeah.
Be nice. Be nice.
I can attest personally, you came and performed for me a few years ago for the first Palm Springs International Comedy Festival, which I was hosting. You rocked. You gave those people the most incredible show. People were holding their sides laughing so much.
Aw.
My love goddess, you are absolutely incredible. And
Well,
I will vouch anytime. We're going to bring in Miss Ruta in just a minute. So we have to say goodbye. But
hey, I just want to tell everyone I love
please,
you. I love you. And party in your pants. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Do a sassy little dance. Thank you, Geoffrey. Thank you, everyone. Mwah. I love you.
and I'll see you next week.
It could happen.
It could.
Bye.
Bye, sweet Judy. If you want to talk about a woman with talent and courage and charm, and did I mention talent and beauty? All of that applies to my friend Judy Tenuta. It also all applies to my friend Ruta Lee, to whom I must apologize because we're having all kinds of technical issues, but I believe she's ready for us. So unless our tech guy Tom tells me differently, we're about to bring on Ruta Lee. What can I say about Miss Ruta Lee? There she is. I believe you've been on television almost as long as Betty White, except you're half her age and the most remarkable woman perhaps I have ever met. My friend Ruta Lee. Yay, Ruta Lee.
Oh, what a lovely introduction. To be mentioned in the same breath as Betty White is pretty good. And to think that I'm holding a dog, you know, she loves animals, I think, better than human beings. And in most cases, I'm with her. I've never met a dog I don't like. So what else can I say? But thank you for that lovely introduction.
You're welcome. And friends and fans,
so happy that to be sharing part of your program with the incredible, amazing, wonderful example of how one should live their life, the wonderful Judy Tenuta.
And isn't she also an example of faith?
A very prime example. And I think it goes to show that if you do have faith and the fact that you can ask God to heal you and he will help you heal yourself is what it amounts to. And I just have such love for that girl. She is not only a talented, beautiful, wonderful girl, she also has an insane sense of humor.
Yes.
Which she has used to great advantage for herself. She's also one of the most generous people I've ever known. I'm yet to ask her to do something that she says no. She is incredible. So God has smiled on her, and I think God has smiled on all of us because she's our friend.
Yes, I agree.
If she didn't care for us.
And I feel the same way about you. I really do.
That's very sweet, Geoffrey. Thank you very, very much.
You know, for our friends and fans who are watching, you and I met blobbity years ago through our mutual friend, Jack Carter.
Ah, yes.
And you and I have been buddies ever since. Every time I need you, there you are. People say to me, doesn't she ever age? Doesn't she ever get tired? Because they see you as this enchanting human being. I know how hard you have worked all of your life as a performer and for the Thalians. Let's mention your new book before it gets away from us, because we want everyone to buy a copy of it. I couldn't put it down. I literally read the book cover to cover. Like one evening I started it, and 4 o'clock in the morning, I was still reading it.
Oh, Geoffrey, that's the greatest compliment. Thank you so much. It makes me very happy when I hear from people like yourself who say, I couldn't put it down. And what's more, I heard your voice in all the printed lines.
Absolutely.
That I find is a great gift that I think the publishers and the editor gave me. And speaking of which, here it is. Whoops, there it is.
Consider your ass kissed.
Yes. And I mean that because, Geoffrey, as you well know, you mentioned the Thalians. And if it isn't the Cancer Fund or the Thalians or the March of Dimes or whatever it may be, I have dedicated so much of my life to raising funds to help people who cannot do it for themselves. And Thalians, of course, is very important, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But the title, Consider Your Ass Kissed, comes from an expression that I have used all of my life whenever I'm thanking people for giving me $5 or $50 or $500,000 for the charity. And what else can I do but say, consider your darling ass kissed, by way of a thank you. And George Pinocchio, who is a friend to all of us, who is ABC's red carpet man and reporter, the Hollywood Reporter, said, Ruta, if you ever get this frigging book finished, you have got to call it Consider Your Ass Kissed. And I went with him, and I love it. And I'm just so grateful to anybody who picks it up and reads it. And I think it's kind of a fun read. I dish a little bit about different people and different leading men and things that have happened and adventures that have happened in my life. But I mean, let's face it, if I can talk about Frank Sinatra and Judy Garland and Betty Davis and marvelous people, Lucille Ball, there's a little bit, I think, to hit everybody's funny bone there.
I know you're tired of this story, but our fans and our friends probably have not heard it. You did an episode of The Lucy Show with Milton and Ruth Burrell. And everybody in it was marvelous. It may be one of the best episodes of The Lucy Show they produced in 6 seasons. And the plot has Lucy Carmichael being a one-day only secretary to Milton Berle, the star. And you, Ruta Lee, playing yourself, come to the door, you ring the doorbell, and Lucy Carmichael runs to the door, opens it up, and then turns to the audience and goes, "It's Ruta Lee, the movie star," and slams the door in your face. And I know that forever after, every time Milton saw you, "It's Ruta Lee, the movie star." When Milton passed away, I started doing it, and I got the vibe that you didn't care for it too much, so I stopped doing it.
Oh, but no, I love it. I love it.
I'll keep doing it because
not everybody understands what it's all about, but I use it on any reel of mine promoting what I do, or an interview for a television show or whatever, because how many people have had Lucille Ball introduce them that way?
Almost nobody.
What a moment. What a fabulous moment. Now, I have to tell you, Milton Berle was, I think, one of the toughest people I've ever known, and yet one of the sweetest and the funniest.
I agree.
And working with him was so wonderful. And when Lucille Ball, in that episode of the show, dumps a Thousand Island dressed salad on his head, and the salad dressing is running down his glasses and everything else, I peed my pants. I mean, I laughed so hard, or I tried to restrain the laugh so hard that I tinkled a little bit.
For those of you who have never seen the episode, or who you have and don't understand what we're talking about, you couldn't really rehearse with the salad because we get all over everything. So they would pantomime it in rehearsal. When they actually do it in front of the live audience, what they couldn't know is that when it landed on his head, this great big chef salad on his head, it didn't just drip a little bit, and it didn't just drip for 5 seconds. It kept moving and dripping and into his face. And of course, once Milton realized it, he started playing it, and it got so out of hand that both Milton and Lucille are yelling at each other like, "No, Mrs. Carmichael," to get back into the scene because the audience is going crazy. It is one of the funniest things she ever did. And you ever did probably too.
Working that way is, first of all, wonderful. 4 cameras. It's a very difficult way to work when you're blocking scenes, because you have to learn this almost like a ballet dance. You cannot move other than what has been programmed, and when you're going to turn and when you're going to respond, because otherwise your nose can be in somebody else's close-up. So it's a tough way to work. And Lucy was a master at this. And she brooked no foolishness on the set, in spite of the fact that Milton was there and we had our laughs when the cameras weren't rolling. But she was a good taskmaster, and I admired her for it. She, to this day, remains one of my very favorite people that has ever been in my life. And I thank God for the joy of having her, not only as somebody that I worked with, but somebody that became a very close and good friend. And her beautiful daughter lives in Palm Springs now,
Yes, and she's our
as you
friend,
well
and
know. And so we see each other every once in a while. Boy, talk about talent. Woo, there's a girl that's loaded with it too.
on her own brand of talent.
Yes,
Not
exactly.
just like anybody else. Lucy
Exactly.
Arnaz is her own person, one of the wisest women I know. When I lost my Joel 3 years ago, and she knew how upset I was, the best piece of advice, she said, Jeff, it's your book. You can either spend the rest of your life mourning him, or you can spend the rest of your life celebrating him. It's just what I needed to hear.
I'm so glad that she said that to you, because it's a credo I live with. You know, when I lost my beautiful Webb, I don't think of him mournfully. I think of him and I smile,
Me
because
too.
he brought so much joy into my life. And, you know, I think about our darling friend, Judy Tenuta, who just has so much to give in spite of the crap that she's going through. She still has this joie de vivre that will live forever. Long after we're all gone, Judy's credo is going to survive. And I just love her and thank her so much for being the kind of lady that she is.
I think you have the same thing. I hope that I do. That
Yeah, we
joy of
do,
living.
Jeff. We do.
We do.
We
We're
all do.
very,
I
very
think that's
lucky.
why we love each other.
Yes, ma'am. And your generosity of spirit. You give so much to so many causes and to so many people. People don't know how many persons you help in show business or who are doing charity work. Let's talk about the Thalians. I know you've got a Christmas thing coming up.
Yes, we do. I'm happy to say we have not been able to do our big fundraisers, which have raised millions and millions of dollars. Stop and think that we always honored somebody exceedingly important in the business that didn't just dazzle us with their performances on the screen, large or small, or on stage. As you mentioned, our beautiful Carol Channing was one of our honorees. We honored people that dazzled us philanthropically as well. And we raised, like I said, millions of dollars. We have now discovered, a few years back, we said, you know, we're missing the boat on something. We have built the Thalians Community Mental Health Center, which was the first building that went in at the Cedars-Sinai complex in Los Angeles. And we raised so much money for them, but the hospital went from pediatric through geriatric care. And what we were missing was the plight of the returning war veterans.
Oh,
Those beautiful young men and women that are willing to put their lives on the line for us everywhere we send them in harm's way. And they come back and sometimes they fall through the cracks. Not that that's meant to happen, but it does happen, and especially when it comes to mental health. And the Thalians has been Hollywood for mental health for a lot of years. And we said, we're missing the boat. So we've now really concerned ourselves with doing something to help our returning veterans who desperately need the help. So many of those guys are homeless people and people that wander the streets. So we Thalians joined up with Operation Mend at UCLA, and we are supporting our returning veterans. They heal the broken and fractured bodies. We heal the broken and fractured mind and spirit. And we do have an event coming up at the Waldorf Astoria on the 5th of December. It's not going to be one of our big, spectacular all-star shows, but it's going to be a beautiful dinner dance, and we're honoring the gloriously wonderful and talented and beautiful and generous Frida Payne. Oh, she is so fabulous.
She
So
certainly is.
hopefully
Many
you'll
years
be
ago,
there.
I wrote an Ella Fitzgerald show for her to do many, many years ago, and she's still performing it. Frida and I have the same birth date, September 19th. We're both born the same day.
Well, I'm May 30th. I'm a different sign.
For those of our friends out there who would like to contribute to the Thalians, how can they do that?
very easily. You go to the Thalians, THALIANS.org, and you will come to a beautiful place that has our invitation on it. Public is invited. Don't wait for it to come in the mail.
No.
Go to thethalians.com and look at the invitation and come to a beautiful, glamorous Hollywood event and support and do good things for our returning veterans and see the fabulous Frida Payne. She will perform that night.
She is absolutely wonderful. I was just about to say, I'd love to sing for the Thalians sometime, but you've got Frida Payne there. You don't need me.
How right you are. But I thank you for taking the time to talk about Consider Your Ass Kissed, which I think is just such a fun book. I'm going to Texas in just a few days to a big book signing in my favorite theater in Fort Worth, Texas, Casa Mañana.
Oh, yeah.
And I have a wonderful following in Texas, and I'm so looking forward to being home away from home in Texas. Ruth Buzzy and her darling husband, Kent Perkins, are going to be there to cheer me on and say hello to friends who are coming in. And speaking of a wonderful friend, she's going to be the here it is. She's going to be the hostess for me at the event. Cheryl Allison has written a book about her adventures with a stray goose.
Goose. I've heard about that book.
That she picked up as her new boyfriend, I think. And this goose became her pet, a goose that couldn't fly because it was a domesticated goose. And so she's got him placed in a beautiful home, and she's going to be there. Maybe she'll bring some of her books and sign them as well.
That's just wonderful. Is there any part of show business that you've not already conquered that you'd like to conquer?
Yeah, there sure is. Broadway.
You are such a dynamic. I've seen you on
every
stage.
show imaginable, Jeff. You know, from Unsinkable Molly Brown, which thank God our fabulous author said I was the best of all of his Mollys. From that to Dolly, to Mame, to Annie Get Your Gun, to a million musicals, anything that I could do.
And Jenny Grosfinger.
Everywhere, all over the country, but never on Broadway.
Is there a show that you know of that you'd love to do on Broadway?
Well, I'm too old now to do all the shows that I would like to reinstate. You know, this is very big stuff on Broadway now. The old shows are coming back around for the second, third time. I could probably still do Mame. I could probably still do, well, certainly I could do Dolly. But I'm a little long in the tooth for some of those shows that I've been playing for years and years and years. But thank God I've been blessed with tremendous energy, and I keep going. So, you know, when I'm 95, I'll think about maybe it's time to slow down, but not yet.
How do you? Is there a tip you can give our people who are listening? You look 30 years younger than you are. You have more energy than people 40 years younger than you are. You glow from inside out. Just you radiate. I'm not talking about when you're performing or I'm interviewing you. I'm talking about when you and I stand just talking as friends. Where does that, is that faith? Is it living a good life? Do you do something special? How do you do that?
You know, I would put it into 4 little letters. Love. I love people. I love anything that God has put in this world, whether it walks and talks or it goes. I'm not fond of things that crawl on their belly. I'm scared to death of snakes. I have 2 fears in life, snakes and dentists, and I'm not sure in which order. But
you can avoid snakes. You can't avoid dentists.
I love everything that there is in this life and appreciate it. And I try very hard not to be judgmental. We can't all help but feel it. But I, honest to God, say, You don't have to love your neighbor, but you have to respect your neighbor. And therefore, that translates somehow to me as love. And I find that if you dish it out, it comes back to you in spades.
I
And
couldn't agree with you more.
my husband used to say, Jeff, Ruta introduces people on the ride on the elevator to the 14th floor. God forbid the passengers shouldn't have a good time. So I obviously would have made a very good hostess on an airliner.
I'm going to bring up something in our last few minutes because we started late, so we're running a little long. Maybe a little controversial, but it's an enormous compliment to you. You speak in your book about being a conservative politically, and I'm kind of on the other side of the aisle of you. But I've never heard you say anything that might be considered political or about people or life that I disagreed with. I've never heard you judge, like you said, or I mean, if every conservative was just like you, I'd probably be a conservative, because what you do and how you live your life to me reflects the teachings of every religion of how a human being should treat another. I admire you so for that.
Thank you. That is so nice. But you know, it all comes down to, and I say this all the time, and I mean it, I am as liberal as anybody can be socially. I want everybody to live their life. Don't harm anybody. Whatever you get joy from, enjoy it. Just don't do harm. On the other hand, I am fiscally right of Attila the Hun. I am very, very conservative about, don't tell me what programs you want for you and make me pay for them. Let's together decide as people and vote on what we need to do. And I think it takes both parties. I'm scared to death that we are forgetting to be polite and listen to somebody else's opinion on something. I'm so afraid that it's become so ugly that there's not room for debate anymore, or even kind of humorous discussion. It's gotten very ugly, and I think it's time that we really rethought that and taught our young people not to be so judgmental, no matter what side you're on.
Our friend Steve Allen and I were having a discussion once about bringing back What's My Line. Could we do because you did What's My Line brilliantly as a panelist, by the way. And he said, Jeff, we can't do What's My Line anymore because What's My Line is a comedy of manners. And you can't have a comedy of manners in a civilization where there are no manners anymore. Whatever happened to manners? Whatever happened to, remember when they taught good citizenship, love thy neighbor, community chest? You don't see anything like that anymore. See, you do it. You are the perfect example of someone who says, yeah, see, because you back it up. The government shouldn't pay for everything, but let me spend my time doing charity work so privately we can pay for everything. See, when I hear that.
We agree. Yes. Yes.
But I only hear the one side where no government should pay, but I don't hear the other side. Well, then you need to dig in and roll up your sleeves and help your neighbors. You walk the walk. That's why I love you so much.
Well, and I love you, my friend. And I'm so glad you mentioned Steve Allen and his wonderful wife. They were very good friends and very good friends to the Thalians.
Yes.
He wrote a lot of stuff for us. And of course, they came to every event and they always contributed. And oh boy, that is very, very special to me. And of course, my best buddy in the world was Debbie Reynolds. And
let's not talk about Debbie. I do have a very short Steve Allen thing I think you will appreciate.
Oh, tell me.
After Steve passed away, I was at an industry event with Jane and her son, and they were talking about Steve had done an interview with Al Jolson that had become recorded, it became an album.
Oh,
And Jane was saying, where is the test pressing of the album? I've been looking for it and looking for it. And I said, Jane, I have it. Steve gave it to me as a gift. And she started to say something. And she said, you know what? It's in good hands.
oh, thank God.
And she started to walk. Yeah, because she had a mouth.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. She walked away, but came back and put her hand on my arm. And she said, Geoffrey, you aren't the biggest star Steve found, but you were the last discovery. And it's
Wow.
like, for Jane to say that, because
wow.
she
What
was
a blessing.
what a blessing.
Oh, Geoffrey, that is so beautiful.
Yeah, Steve,
Judy
that's,
here to answer phones.
that's okay. We have phone calls. We're human beings. Yeah, Steve was wonderful to me. I have been very blessed in my career with people like you, who believed in my talent and mentored and helped. And I do the same thing. I pass it forward because that's what we do. That's what we do. One more time, remind the folks about the Thalians website, because I really want people to contribute.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. It's the Thalians, Thalians. Thalia was a Greek goddess, the goddess of comedy, and she also took care of the stray lambs. So it seems like the appropriate title for us who are dealing with the mental health, Hollywood for mental health. So go to thethalians.org and you can read all about us. And above all, if you are of a mind to, buy a ticket and come to our beautiful dinner dance that we're going to have honoring the gorgeous Frida Payne on December 5th. And if you're anywhere near Fort Worth, Texas, or Dallas, Texas, on the 14th of November, I forget where I am, then please come to my book signing. We will be pouring a little bubbly, and we will do books and bubbly. And how precious an evening can I promise anybody except to be there and love everyone.
Everything people donate to the Thalians is tax deductible?
Absolutely. Every penny goes.
And it's the end of the year, kids. This is the time where you're looking to like get your tax deductible dollars spent. Would you please send it to the Thalians? It's close to my heart. I don't know about you, but I have been around mentally ill people all my life. And that's not a joke. That's not a joke.
No, I know.
My parents were both mentally ill. My mother's best friend was bipolar before they knew what to do about it. I have seen firsthand what mental illness can do to people. And I've seen firsthand when they get the right treatment and the right medications, how lives can be turned around.
Yes.
So please donate to the Thalians to help other people. We know there's all kinds of charities out there. The Thalians is one of the best, and you won't be sorry.
No, and do it in memory of our darling Debbie Reynolds. Isn't it amazing that she spent her life, as have I now, in her footsteps, that she spent her life dealing with raising funds for mental health. And there she had a daughter, who was bipolar before anybody knew really what bipolar was. And amazing what happened with the right kind of medication and the right kind of treatment. And so much is happening for our returning veterans there. So I do hope that you will all seriously consider. I mean, there are a million important charities in this world to give to. And Lord knows Americans are the most generous people on the face of this earth. And I'm proud to be one of them. And boy, oh boy, thank you in advance for anything that you might have to offer. And you're talking about how manners have gone down the toilet. I'm concerned that our young people are not getting a background in how blessed we are to be Americans. Hey, Jeff, how many teachers do anything about the Pledge of Allegiance anymore, the way we all learned? None. I know of no classroom that does that anymore. What the hell happened? Why don't our kids know how important it is to honor their country and their flag?
As you know, I have grandchildren, and my oldest, who's well into his schooling, could not recite the Pledge of Allegiance for you.
That's a disgrace. And I think it's a disgrace that our teachers are not permitted to swat a kid who has sassed anybody or been rude or unkind. I think we expect too much of our teachers and don't give them any kind of authority over kids. And Lord knows, I, of course, like Judy, went to Catholic school, and those nuns beat the hell out of you if you didn't do it right.
I don't know if I believe in
My knuckles
swatting.
are still sore.
I don't know if I believe in swatting, but I do believe that there's a price to pay for bad behavior, and there has to be consequences of some kind.
Absolutely.
If it's not a ruler on the hand, then you need to stay after school for a month, or
There you
you have to do charity work to make up for being a jerk.
Yes, there has to be. Consequences don't no longer seem to exist, no matter what. Well, I don't mean to preach. Lord knows.
No, yeah, I mean, you and I, you know that
I
you
know
and I are
we're on opposite sides, but we're on the same track.
I will reach across the aisle and hug you anytime.
And I will be seeing you very soon to do that.
You will be seeing me next week. And I just lost my entire train of thought. We've plugged the book. We've talked about the Thalians. Oh, yes. Anytime the Thalians need me to write comedy or sing or perform for you in any fashion,
Wow.
You're hearing it publicly. It's yours.
That's an offer that is so acceptable and so needed and so wanted and so appreciated. Thank you very, very much. I just look forward to seeing you, period, and sitting down and having a glass or 10 of wine or whatever, and hugging.
You'll have your wine. I'll have my coffee.
Yeah, and thank God we will be seeing each other at the Hollywood Museum very soon.
We will next week for a salute to Bob Hope.
Yeah.
So here's to the Hollywood Museum. Ruta, you have been such a blessing in my life. I don't know if I've ever said it to you privately, so I'm saying it to you publicly. I adore you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all you brought to my life.
Jeffrey, I thank you for being in my life. And you have brought joy to an awful lot of people. And isn't that kind of what we'd like on our gravestones? Just they brought a smile to to any face they ever crossed. I love that idea. And
what other purpose is there for having talent if we can't use that talent to make people happy?
A smile is a very cheap gift to give, and it pays off
forever. Let's give a shout out to Judy Diamond, who helps make all of this possible for you.
She's sitting right here.
I know. Hi, sweetie. We love you too. Love you too. Ruta, thank you for taking the time out of your busyness to be with me.
Thank you for sharing your audience with me, and thank my darling Judy for being the mensch that she is. She's a great dame and will just improve your life if you live it a little bit the way Judy does.
Well, it
God
takes
bless you. Wonderful to be with you.
All right. We are out of time. We'll keep Ruta's face up there because she's a lot better to look at than I am. Thank you all. I believe Gary will be with you next week. I'll be with you the week after. And as I always say to you folks, God bless and have a happy.